Well, it is Halloween, so let's have some fun. It's Freak Week. Let's look at some freakishly cool mountain bikes, and I've seen some mountain bikes in my time. I'm gonna wear this crazy beard and this crazy hat. I'm gonna try and tone down my voice, so that's gonna get kind of annoying. Okay, the first bike up, the Cannondale Raven. Now, you know what? I remember when this bike was introduced. I was at the launch party back in the early 1670s. No, actually, it was around 1994. It's very lightweight, very stiff. It's got an aluminium rear triangle with a horizontal shock, and the top-end version of the Raven had a lefty fork, which at the time was revolutionary and made the top-end bikes look absolutely incredible. The lefty has survived the test of time. The Cannondale Raven has not. Wow, this is freaky and my moustache keeps falling down, but we're just gonna glaze over that. Next bike up is the Honda RN01. Now, this bike brought some professionalism with its builder Honda to the downhill scene, and the lucky racers on the G-Cross team who used this bike, Matti Loikkanen, Greg Minnaar and Brendan Fairclough, were the very select few who got to try this incredible piece of art out. Not many people rode these bikes. It was a gearbox bike, which was revolutionary at the time, and in that mid-drive system there was all sorts of gubbins, but nobody really knew what it was. There was all sorts of rumours, but to be honest, your guess is as good as mine. What was in there? A small rat running? I don't know. That sounds freaky. There's probably something more technical than that. The Zerode downhill bike. Yes, this bike is sleek and stylish. But you know what? There's a lot going on in that frame when you take a second glance. There's a planetary gear system sitting above the bottom bracket and just below the shock, which is being driven by the bottom bracket as you pedal, but then that drives a second chain down to the rear wheel that's got a single sprocket on the rear hub. It's a really interesting design, and using that high pivot point suspension, this bike was looking into the future because some downhill bikes of today, like the Common Sail for instance, are using that same idea, and it's working and they're winning races. The Superco Silencer is an incredible bike designed by Chris Doc Bordeaux, a legend of frame building. And in this bike, he took the high pivot point suspension system to an extreme. The idea being that the rear wheel in its travel is always moving either away and up from the frame, rather than coming in closer and decreasing the wheelbase. Very clever system. And just look how the bike is powered. It's got a left-hand side drive system that goes up above the high pivot point, then across through the frame and down from that high point so the chain movement never moves to the rear wheel. It's an incredible idea. Could it work? Well, really? Are we ever going to find out? It never made it to production. Shame. This is a freaky bike. The Shaun Palmer Intense M1 Stars and Stripes. Just look at it. It's so amazing. It's a point of the sport, a moment in time that everyone remembers. Seeing Shaun Palmer race down the Cairns track in 1996. It was an unbelievable time. And he nearly took gold on that bike. He just missed out. Nico Vouloise took the win and Palmer never got his gold. But the Stars and Stripes bike shone on and went down in mountain biking history. That Troy design, resplendent. And when you put the character of Shaun Palmer on top, you have got a freakishly cool bike. You want freaky? Well, how about the Avis Bowtie? A work of art in titanium that I absolutely adore. And what's special about this bike, even though it's just beautiful and titanium, it's got no linkage at all in that rear suspension. All of the movement in that rear suspension is held together with a central spine going down to the bottom bracket. And then the damping is handled by that Fox rear shock. That's incredible. All of that flex, up to 5 inches of travel and no linkage. It worked perfectly if you were sitting down. The moment you stood up though, you're effectively on a rigid frame because your feet were now stood absolutely all of your weight on the bottom bracket, which meant the suspension no longer worked. God damn! They were close to something special. Now I'm trying to freak you out, but I'm looking down the camera and I can't see freaked out people. Everyone go, ah! Nothing. Right, let me try harder. The Kirk Revolution. It's made of magnesium. How freaky is that? It's die cast and it's made at 650 degrees with 650 pounds of pressure. And you know what? It all happens in 40 milliseconds. Bang! Bike. You know what? There's also information that it only takes 1.4 cubic meters of seawater to make enough magnesium for a bike. I do not know why that's important, but I was given the information, so I'm giving it to you. You know what was more freaky about this bike? How much the frame flexed. It was a horror show. Popular in the early 90s, died out in the early 90s. Get what I'm saying? Didn't last very long. The Lahar M9 Downhill bike is something really special. It's really unique, in fact. This strange carbon, almost alien looking frame is housing a Rollhoff 14-speed gearbox and all of the suspension gummings, plus that high pivot point again. It's a bit of a theme through our freakish bikes. But Aaron Franklin designed this bike to be special, and it's a very different design. It almost looks like it's alive. I think it looks like a limb. The structure Cycleworks is a perfect example of modern day freak. Just look at this trapezoidal suspension system. The front end looks like the back end. It looks like a transformer. There's lots of reasons for this different design, but these guys think that there are disadvantages to a telescopic front fork. And the way that we're approaching bikes in general, of how we fit bikes to your height rather than to your style of riding and terrain of riding. And the Structure Cycleworks bike is all about attacking that and changing the way we think of mountain biking. It's changed the way I think a bike can look, because it's unbelievable. Do you like it? I do. Let us know in the comments whether you like it. It's a freakishly cool bike, and it's finishing up our list with style. Okay, thanks for watching our Freaky Bike Week. We're loving it, and I hope you liked our freaky top 10 list of bikes. I definitely enjoyed doing it. If you want to see some more GMBN videos, then why don't you click just there for some freaky bike jumps that Blake did in the woods, and click over there for a freaky dirt shed show. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up like. Thanks for putting up with me.